Hello, happy Monday, and if you're new here, welcome to my YouTube channel. So in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the concept of your future self and the fact that your future self is no longer a people pleaser. So right now, I want you to imagine that there is a version of you out there who is no longer a people pleaser. She's not overthinking and she's getting exactly what she wants. She speaks clearly and confidently, and she's not second guessing herself. She's calm, she's grounded, but she is still you. Just a version of you that you haven't stepped into yet. So in the last videos, we talked about, and if you haven't seen my last videos, you might want to go back and catch up on these. So we talked about how your survival identity was formed. We talked about how those patterns show up and keep you small. And we talk about how your inner child makes it feel like it's impossible for you to change. But now we're going to shift direction and start connecting to where you're going. So I want you to start thinking about this as not healing, but becoming. Becoming the version of you that you were always meant to be. Because there is a version of you who has already worked through this, who no longer needs these survival strategies, who doesn't abandon herself to keep other people comfortable. And so you can think about this in different ways. Some people describe this as different versions of you that exist as potential. Different paths your life can take depending on how you think, act, and show up. And whether you see that as psychology, identity, spirituality, something deeper, the important part is this: you're not fixed. You're not stuck as the version of you that was shaped by your past. So let's get really clear on her, the version of you that's moved past all of this. She's not constantly tuned in to how people think about her. She's not adjusting herself to be liked. She doesn't abandon her needs. She doesn't over-explain. She doesn't shrink. But she is grounded in herself. She is comfortable being seen. She is very clear in her communication. She can say no without guilt. She can say what she thinks without overthinking it for hours. She communicates with certainty, but also with kindness. And this is important because a lot of resistance can come from an idea that to become different, to become assertive, communicate your needs, you need to stop caring, be mean. And of course you don't want to be that. But future you is not aggressive. She's not cold. She's not trying to dominate anyone. She's just in her power. And the biggest difference is this: she doesn't need permission to be herself. Now, when you hear this, there might be a part of you that thinks, this just isn't me. But that is only because you've been identifying with your survival self for so long. That confident, grounded version of you is not something that you have to create from nothing. It's something you uncover when you stop operating from fear. So I want you to try something and don't overcomplicate it. If you're able to, and in a safe place to do so, close your eyes for a minute. Or imagine this as you're listening. Imagine her, the version of you who has moved through this, who has solved this problem, who is no longer a people pleaser. Where is she? How does she carry herself? What is she wearing? How does she sound? How does she walk into a room? Imagine her in a conversation. Someone asks her something that normally you would overthink. How does she respond? She doesn't rush. She doesn't panic. She takes a moment. And she speaks clearly. Notice her energy. There's no tension, no urgency to be liked, no fear underneath what she's saying. And ask yourself, what does this version of me no longer tolerate? Being disrespected? Over-explaining herself? Saying yes when she means no? She doesn't stay in situations that feel wrong. And most importantly, she doesn't abandon herself. And this is where it becomes powerful. Because your brain is unable to distinguish between something that is vividly imagined and something that is real. So when you start connecting to this version of yourself regularly, asking yourself what this version of yourself does in particular moments, situations, and begin doing that, you begin to create a new reference point. Instead of going through your day asking, how do I fix myself? You start asking, what would she do in this moment? When you want to people please, what would she do? When you're about to overthink a message, what would she do? When you feel the urge to stay quiet, what would she do? And at first, it might feel uncomfortable, and your inner child will probably need some reassurance here, because you're going against what is familiar. You're stepping out of the survival identity and into something new. So she'll be scared, resistant. And this is where my method is different, because I don't advocate just shutting down and trying to avoid her or override her. I will never say to you, try and feel this anxiety as excitement. We're not gaslighting ourselves here. So remember, your inner child is just looking to protect you. So you need to learn to comfort them, reassure them. Say, we're trying something new here, but I'm here for you. And every time you choose in alignment with that version of yourself, you strengthen it. And because you're nurturing your scared inner child at the same time, it doesn't feel so scary. It doesn't feel so uncomfortable. And each time you do it, you make it more real. You start becoming her. And over time, that version of you stops feeling distant and starts to feel like you're normal. She's no longer someone you have to become one day. She's someone that you start choosing right now. So if this resonated for you, let me know in the comments. What is one thing your future self could do differently this week? How can you support your inner child in this process? And in the next video, I'll show you how to start embodying this new version of you in a practical, consistent way. So once again, I wanted to thank you for being with me and watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. So peace out and stay blessed.